I've just noticed this, I don't know if you've seen this, but the Fano board.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I did see it.
So it's like the first one that I've seen, but I'm really liking how it works with like the inlays and stuff as well.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, it's perfect for this instrument,
Yeah.
you know, this vibe. It's got that whole kind of, you know, Rick feel to it, so it's really cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's got nice contrast to the inlays as well.
Yeah. So this is the first one that you drew up for Rivolta.
It is, yeah. This is where it all began.
Yeah, this was like supposed to initially just be a custom shop model,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
grew into the line.
That's right. Yeah. The Combinata, you know, it was kind of my updated take on the RB6, wanting to do something sort of familiar.
Yeah.
Obviously, I like those designs. They're not something I'm doing anymore.
Yeah.
This is a great opportunity for us to kind of revisit some of those things,
Yeah.
update them a little bit, and just do something kind of cool and funky.
Yeah, yes. So how long did you have this on the drawing board then, beforehand?
You know, when we first started talking about it, I knew that this was like the first model that I wanted to do. It came together fairly quick.
Yeah.
You know, like Mike and I started talking about the idea of working together, and it was probably, I don't know, a good 5-6 weeks.
Yeah.
Had some drawings together, and you know.
Well, I remember when it like came to me as well, and it was like fully formed, like you know the logo was there, and it was kind of all there. So like, did you already been wanting to work on this kind of thing before?
I'd thought about
did
it.
together?
Yeah. I mean, going back many years, I thought about doing maybe a line of guitars that were, you know, a little bit more affordable.
Yeah.
Something that was a good alternative to what we were doing, you know, with our USA-made guitars.
Yeah.
So yeah, the idea was there. You know, kind of just on the back burner.
Yeah.
Even the name Rivolta, I
Yeah.
had that kind of on the back burner too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just like the right timing.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to do something. We're going to tie it in with what we do with Novo, and it just yeah, kind of worked.
And the Italian theme, I don't think I've ever asked you that. Like, where did that come from? Because I know
Well,
we've kind of got it like right the way through the line now as well.
We do. Like we've got the Latin terminology running through the Novo line.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, my surname is Italian.
Yeah.
My you know, ancestors. I've got some Italian blood in me.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, you know, when I wanted to, you know, do something after Fano, and I came up with the idea for Novo. I wanted to keep that name, you know, 4 letters ending in O, picking up where Fano left off with the NO.
Yeah.
So it was all sort of, you know, kind of, I had a lot of personal meaning to why I want to go down that road.
Yeah.
And I thought if I went down the road with, you know, using the Italian, the Latin, you know, terms for Novo, it just felt right to me to just, you know, do something Italian for Rivolta.
Yeah. So where do you see them like fitting? Like I always describe people of them being the evolution of what you did with Fano, with the models.
Yeah.
I kind of see Novo as being that as well. It's like Mike and I did a video prior to this one where we were talking about it from last time I was here, and we spec them out and whatnot. And I was saying it just feels like Novo is just a continuation of what you did originally.
Yeah, it's the evolution, right? It's the evolution of those designs. There's some of that DNA in what we do with Novo. For me, it's sort of 2 separate but equal tangents. It's like Novo is a continuation of what I was doing with Fano, and this isn't too far off from that either. It's a way to still kind of scratch that itch in a different way from what we're doing with Novo.
Well, like personally for me, like obviously from working with you on Rivolta, I see Rivolta as the kind of design continuation of it, like with the and the aesthetics and the customization side. Coming Novo and kind of, you know, and again, there's still. Like I keep saying it to everyone I speak to. It's just continuation of like how good.
Well, it's kind of cool that
Fanos were that I saw.
It's cool that you can see that because that was my intention. It's, you know, when you're starting out with a new design, a whole new, you know, direction. It's hard to know if that's going to actually translate. If someone's going to see me and my aesthetic in what I do, does that carry through, or is it just something that I think I'm doing? You know what I mean? But yeah, I've heard that quite a bit. How there's like it feels like a logical progression from you know, from what I was doing.
So like the chronology of Novo and stuff. So what, like, when did you make the last Fano, and when was like the first Novo? What was the gap?
As far as my involvement with Fano, it kind of ended around May of 2014. That's when I completed the last guitar that I made for Fano. I stayed on for a little while as a consultant, but Novo began, I guess it was the fall of 2016. So yeah, it's we're coming up on 2 years. No, maybe it's 2015. So we're coming, that makes sense. So yeah, coming up on the 3rd year. So there was probably, you know, a good, I don't know, year and a half between the last guitar that I made for Fano and started building those first Novos.
Well, I was obviously pestering you about this for like a little while.
You weren't pestering much. We just, you know, it took us a long time to get around to it.
And what's funny about it is how close it is to the first one that I picked up.
Is that right?
Yeah, well, the one that was in your shop in the basement.
Right.
Which was the almond pickle.
Oh yeah. So it had the almond gold foil. That was a guitar that we made for Scott Sherrard. And it was a butternut body. I think he had a Seymour Duncan Antiquity bridge pickup, and then he had this vintage DeArmond that he sent to us that we installed in the neck. He's since changed out the bridge pickup. He's gone with a like a lap steel, so he's gone more of a Cooter caster direction with the guitar, and he loves the instrument. But yeah, this was essentially us doing a reverse version of Scott's guitar.
Yeah, like I was saying, like it's pretty much the left-handed replica of the first one that I picked up.
Right on.
I was like, I didn't want to put it down the whole time I was there, and it's kind of like all the other ones that I've seen, it's still, you know, it sticks with you. And I think so. I think like I've seen other people while we've been here doing this, kind of having the same experience. And
right on.
It's interesting how people have that connection with individual models as well, like different, you know, obviously like different people pick up on different things. But it's really cool to see. And
we've got one of the new things that we've started doing is the thin lines. And I've gotten a lot of good feedback on those just these past couple of days.
This is like what weight's that? Obviously I work in kilos, so it's being in the UK.
So
it's real life.
This body here, this is kind of a modern red pine. It's tempered, and when we got these blanks in, they were on the heavy side, and we thought, not sure we're going to be able to use these. But we knew we had the thin lines coming through, and it was something that we wanted to focus on. So we set these aside, and this body started out over 5 pounds, and that's already 25% heavier than it needs to be for a solid body. We try to keep the body weight below 4 pounds, and this was like 5 1/4 pounds. It was a real tank. And so we put it aside, put it on the shelf. When we got around to doing the thin lines, this is actually the first prototype. We grabbed one of those, started out at 5 1/4. We started routing out the back, you know, chambering the back, and it was amazing how light that was. We put the top on it, threw it on the scale, and it came in just over 3 pounds. So all in all, I think this thing comes in just under 7 pounds, which again is kind of a nice ideal weight. Especially when you're talking about a semi-hollow. Last thing you want to do is pick up a guitar that's too heavy. But when it's a semi-hollow and you expect it to be lighter weight because it is hollow,
but it's still a surprise to, you know, to me picking it up. Like you want that surprise that it's light, and it's kind of, you know, it's lighter than you think it's going to be. So
so it just worked out perfectly. So we've got a good supply of this material. We've got more that we can get, and I think it's going to be just the ideal material for these guitars. Because if we started with those bodies that are lighter weight, 4 pounds to begin with, the guitar would be too light. There's a chance that it would just be a little bit neck heavy, so it just balances really well. We're coming in, as I said, just under 7 pounds. We shoot for 7, 7.5 on average for any solid body guitar. So this is cool. It's a really ideal weight.
I love this as well.
Right, yeah. So I knew that I wanted to keep that contour in there that we've got on the rest of the Serus line. So it took us a little bit of time to figure it out, but we're doing the contours that's standard on all of the thin line models. We do these with binding as well. We'll be doing double bound versions. We've got one on the bench. Maybe we can go take a look at that later. It's got the checkerboard binding on it.
Just
and that just looks awesome.
So we got Mondatas now.
Yeah, good old Mondata.
Yeah, we've just worked on the renumbering of them as well, like the Roman numerals. So what we were calling the Junior series and now the Mondata II.
Yep.
But I suppose it was this is an 8.
Yeah.
Binding, 3 pickups.
Yeah. we're still getting there.
But again, so this is a similar thing where it's an evolution of one of the old Fano models that you did.
Yeah. This one, like the Combinata, the way that I started with the RB6 as kind of that was a starting point. Yeah. It was the jumping off point. What I did with the Combinata was I kind of blew that up proportionally, gave it a slight offset. I like offset style guitars, if you hadn't noticed. Yeah. And the Combinata is a for me, it's the right scale for that body type. Yeah. The RB6 was always a little bit on the smaller side, and it was intended to be that way because of the inspiration for that being, you know, the old Rickenbacker combo. Yeah. And so I wanted to make it a little bit larger, give it a slight offset. So the starting point for the Mondata was what I was doing with the JM6. Yeah. I changed the body lines a little bit, just kind of made this kind of speak to what was going on with that upper bass side horn a little bit better. And you know, you got some Firebird influence in there as well. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much the starting point.
Yeah. Scale length as well.
Yeah.
So the 25, and you know, is that the first time you'd worked with a 25-inch scale? Or
it is. Yeah, you know, for me, I wanted to do something just a little bit, something that kind of hit with anyone who was familiar with or comfortable with 24 3/4 or 25 1/2. Yeah. Just going for that 25 scale, something right down the middle that feels, you know, not too different if you prefer one of those scales, typically. So
well, like, speaking personally as someone who jumps between telly style guitars and kind of like SG Les Paul,
sure,
it does give you that blend. I know it sounds obvious, but it feels like both.
Right.
And you instantly feel at home. You can get the kind of the low end twang that you want out of a telly. Yeah. But still, you know, like the fluidity of a kind of shorter scale. It's so it's really a job well done on that.
Yeah. And it's not like it's the first time it's been done. You know, we all know that PRS made the 25-inch scale, you know, popular. Yeah. It is a very comfortable place to be. So I thought it was perfect for the new line. Again, having a little bit more of a broader appeal, not, you know, excluding you know, someone who might prefer a shorter or the longer scale. Just going right in the middle there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so coming along, we kind of just stripped them back to do the junior, like I'm still calling them the junior models, which is kind of what they are. Yeah. But again, it's amazing. I'm amazed how well the Combinata I has been received. Just obviously speaks to a particular crowd that we both know it.
Yeah. I mean, it's there's no fuss. You've got a single P90 and you know, a wraparound bridge. Yeah. I like to call it a wrap over, but I usually, you know, get ridiculed for that. Yeah. I've just always referred to it that way, but I'll call it a wraparound because that's what everybody else is calling it. But yeah, it's a very straightforward rock and roll machine. Yeah.
And like, one of the things that I hear often from people when they see a wraparound is all intonation issues and stuff. Yeah. They've been solid.
They have.
They've been very good.
Yeah, we've got a nice compensated wrap over bridge on this. Yeah. So it's an improvement over, you know, the old wraparound, which is just essentially a you know, a stop tailpiece. Yeah. We've got the compensation built in there.
Obviously adjustable, like either end.
Sure. Yeah, and you can adjust for the overall length. Yeah. The compensation built in there is right on. Yeah. It's very cool.
Yeah. It's quite funny. I always think when people say that to me, it's like, oh, there's going to be a problem with that bridge. It's like, yeah, so we need to ban all acoustic guitars then in that case and get rid.
Exactly. No, it works extremely well.
Yeah. So I know, like, I've I've heard discussions through being like inside Novo HQ about like the models coming up. But what are you excited to kind of do next with Novo, model-wise?
Well, we just introduced the thin lines, and we have bases. Yes, we have bases because a lot of people have been asking about that. We'll be working on bases, and we've got a single cut model that we're aiming to release in January. So those are the next two. There's a long list of other things that I want to get to beyond that. I'd like to get a baritone and do a 12-string. So we can kind of fill out the line a little bit. Just we've covered a good amount of ground with what we're doing. We are covering that, but there's some some places where we can kind of expand the line and meet some other needs. The bases for sure. That's I think that's going to be next up. So maybe by later this year we could be introducing the first base, and then a single cut, hopefully by January. There's a couple of different variations we want to do with the single cut. Kind of a traditional carved top. We want to do one with a slab body, kind of a junior style, and something that sort of touches on what I was doing with the SP6 back in the Fano days.
And what have you got an idea silhouette-wise? Because obviously anyone who's watching this as a bass player is going to want to know. Like.
So for at least the first, I'm sure there will be many bases, but the first one will be the same silhouette that we're using for the Seruses. For the ST and the J. And we're also going to be standardizing some of the what are now custom versions of those three models. Like the T, we do a version of that we're calling the TC, which has a chopped pickguard and a chopped telly bridge. So we're going to be making that a standard model. Each of the models, the T, the S, and the J, will have a variant. So there will be an SV, which has a Firebird in the neck position, and a humbucker in the bridge, and then there's the JS, which has a Schroeder wrap over or wrap around bridge, and two gold foils. So got quite a bit in the works.
I'm sure there's going to be you're going to get a lot of people wanting the bases in particular and clamoring for them.
I've got a list of people that every few months reach out to me. Hey, how about those bases? Where are they? And I just keep saying, all right, hold on, we are getting to them. It will happen.
Bass players and lefties are always the what about me guys? Of which I'm one, so I feel justified in saying it.
Yours is the very first lefty, and we already have some more on order. So we'll. I think we've got a few heading over to Coda very soon.
Which I'm still going to have to go down and check them out as well.
Of course.
We'll see, Doug. And obviously we're here now, and we've got the showroom in the Nashville shop. So it's kind of here for people to come and see the guitars, see both lines, see Rivolta and Novo.
This is great. I mean, we've been here in Nashville for 13 months, and it's about time that we have a showroom where we can put the guitars on display and invite people down to come check them out. Because up until now, we've had so few guitars coming through. We've been working to kind of increase our production, working through some back orders. So now we've got a great place to it's a nice new
it's great
showroom.
It's simple to put together as well, wasn't it?
Super simple.
But like I said to you yesterday, this is possibly the most amount of individual guitars of yours.
That's true.
That's certainly what I've seen. It's cool to see.
As far as having Novos and Rivoltas side by side, and the variety that we've got here, I don't know that you can find that anywhere else right now. But hopefully we can change that. We can start making more of the Novos, and we'll start putting some guitars on hooks.